read them off, and again, each candidate will have 2 minutes. We'll stick with the standard. And again, Cesar will be your timekeeper. We'll keep an eye on him. The first question is, for many years, Texas has been one of the most competitive states in the country for attracting industry. Our state's economy is comparatively strong. What do you think are the underlying factors of our competitiveness?
Well, I'll start by saying that here in South Texas, we're one of the fastest growing areas in the state and in the country. You look around, you look at construction, new business going up and opening. And here in Texas, our unemployment rate is 6.5%. No, under 7%, which is under the national average. In Corpus Christi, it's 6.5. For us, Texas, we're business friendly. We try to, the less regulation we have, the better we are. We also have incentives to attract new companies to come down to Texas, with tax abatements, with tax incentives. I carried the price of legislation when I was in the Texas House of Representatives. It's created thousands of jobs, and it's allowed businesses to relocate here in Texas. For us, we continue pushing in that direction. If I may also add, can you hear me without a mic? Yes. Okay, then I'll speak without a mic. Throughout my tenure in the Texas House and in the Senate, I've always been endorsed by the business associations, by the Independent Federation of Small Businesses. I will tell you that we're going to talk about my opponent, then I will tell you that my opponent missed 110 votes as a freshman. 110 votes. I've only missed about 5 or 6 in 10 years as a state senator. So you got to pay attention to what's going on in terms of the issues. You also skip a special session and told the public that there was illness in the family. In fact, it was in Washington, D.C. on a junket. And my time's up.
You have 20 seconds.
I'll continue doing a good job. We'll see the growth taking place. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Torres?
Thank you. Excellent question. Well, Texas is the #1 job creation state in America because it does some things better than everybody else. Number one, we have a pro-business environment. We need to continue to do that. We have a regulatory system that's fair and reasonable, but yet it can be improved upon. We have a terrific insurance market in Texas, competitive with the exception of windstorm. We have human capital. We have some of the finest institutions in higher ed here in Texas. We have tort reform that Texas is leading the nation on tort reform because that makes it less costly for business to do business. These are some of the things we've done very well in Texas. And we must continue to do those things for us to stay strong. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I have to be honest with ourselves. Whatever we did in the past was yesterday. That doesn't help us tomorrow, does it? Our children that were 2 years old have different needs at 8 years old. So we need to look into the future. What direction does Texas have to go to be able to produce the jobs it needs for the number of children that are being born, especially in South Texas? It's one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing community in the entire nation. What do we have to do? All I know is we're not doing enough. So we got to not only improve on those issues that create a business-friendly environment, but we want to make sure we execute them now. My opponent brought up an issue of 110 votes. Well, the reason he brings it all up, ladies and gentlemen, is quite frankly simply because he wants to cover up the most important vote. And I have evidence here from the Caller Times that said that I was the only legislator to have 100% attendance in committee hearings where most of the work is done. What he didn't tell you is the 110 votes were off the House floor when I was in my office visiting constituents like you. When you make a trip to Austin and you want to visit with your representative, don't you want your representative to make time for you? Well, I do. Perhaps they didn't want to make time for him because they already know him very well and they don't go see him. But a lot of people wanted to see me, and I was off the House floor. I believe taking care of the people is the #1 job of an elected leader. Then he mentioned the thing about missing special session.
I think the time's up, Mr.
Okay,
Torres,
thank you.
but thank you. The next question is, it's been almost 30 years since, quote, a nation at risk, unquote, documented the state of K through 12 education in America. Since then, per-student education spending has increased between 50 to 150% with below-par results. What can we do to change this quickly?
It's okay.
Hey, Paul, could we
without question, Texas has an education problem, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at the facts. I'm a numbers guy. Facts don't lie. Down here in Hidalgo County, dropout rate, anybody want to guess? Close to 40%. That's the average. That's not a good education system. See, the problem with public ed is that everybody in Austin thinks that every child will go to college. That's wrong thinking. It's in their mission statement. But what we have to face is the reality that our children are special and unique, and we need a system that is fitted for the region. Do you know that our children in South Texas are uniquely different than children from the Northeast portion of Texas, or West Texas, or up north, the Midland and Lubbock area? And yet the state continues to solve our education issues with a cookie-cutter approach. Never mind the fact that my opponent voted to cut the budget by $5 billion. By the way, the only Democrat to do so. Never mind that. I mean, funding was bad enough as it is. South Texas laid off teachers, overcrowded classrooms, and we're going to improve the dropout rate. I voted against it because it was the wrong model for South Texas. I don't care what they do up in North Texas. I want South Texas to prosper. I want our children to prosper. And the only way we're going to do that is to customize the program. Look, teaching to the test is wrong. My daughter's a second grade teacher. It's wrong. And yet we keep putting millions of dollars into that project. So somebody's getting rich, just not our children. I think that it's high time that we're honest with ourselves and with you, the people of Texas, that our system doesn't work for everybody. It works for some, but not for everybody. And the problem is, as long as legislators are mostly financially wealthy, they will never realize how difficult it is to raise a child in an environment like South Texas, where there's over 80% poverty, almost 11.5 to 12% unemployment, and people are grasping for jobs. That's how it is.
I think that's time. Mr. Hinojosa?
Yeah, you know, education is the best equalizer we have in our society. Education gives you knowledge, knowledge gives you power to succeed. But my opponent is factually dishonest. He voted to cut $8 billion from public education. I restored $4 billion as Vice Chair of Finance on the Senate side. But we sent back that bill to the House. He voted against it. And he told the public, and he told the newspaper in Corpus Christi, he voted against it because it wasn't enough. Okay? It wasn't enough. Here in the border, we have very unique problems. Yes, they're different from the rest of the state because of Mexico. There are children here who are going to attend our schools because they're ordered by the United States Supreme Court. We have to accept them, whether we like it or not. So we have to educate them. So it's an extra burden and responsibility on our teachers in our public schools. Number two, I will tell you that my opponent voted against a recovery dropout bill that I had. It's modeled after the San Juan Alamo School District, where you go out and reach out to students who dropped out of school and bring them back. And I put $50 million in that program, and my opponent voted against that. Thirdly, I will tell you that education, not everybody should go to college. We understand that. And I will be introducing legislation to allow a technical career so that students who do not want to go to college but are smart and have the skills can learn a trade, can learn how to work, and get a job, whatever it is, with computers, with repairs, with technology, but let them work and not just drop out of schools and let them become productive citizens to pay and do the fair share of work for us.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, this is a kind of a short one. Do you support tuition vouchers? Why or why not? Go ahead.
Let me tell you about tuition vouchers. Right now, we're working with charter schools, and I support charter schools. So we're trying to experiment to make sure we have another alternative other than public schools, and charter schools have been supported by the Texas legislature, and you see IDEA here in the Valley. We just want to make sure that they do not focus only on the cream of the crop. So we're trying to find ways to deal and give alternative to students. But in terms of just giving out a voucher tuition to students, no. I think we have to support a public school system, work with it, try to improve it, and make it more effective. But I will not support just straight out tuition vouchers.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Torres?
Yes. Parents have a right to educate their children what they think is best suited for them, not some bureaucrat, not some government official. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a parent. I got 5 kids. I got 6 grandkids and 1 on the way. That's important to me, education, because you see, my mom told me when I was small that education was going to be my gateway out of poverty, and she was right. but she sent me to school where she wanted. I believe you, the taxpayer, have a right to spend your tax money wherever you think is best suited for you. I don't think that should be an issue. And if public schools would get their act together, we wouldn't have this issue of having to do vouchers. But we keep making excuses for them. And I'm an advocate of public schools. My children went to public schools, but that doesn't give them an excuse to not operate efficiently. We can do better. We can live in a world where parents decide, I will continue to send my kids to public school. But I think you should have a right to send yours where you want to go. On the issue of business, ladies and gentlemen, he said he received an award from Texas Association of Business. Here's his grade, 50%. From NFIB, look at the averages, 46% for Texas Association of Business. Why would an associate give him an award for 46% voting record? I'm still scratching my head on that one. Here's the proof where he signed the budget bill. He says that I cut $8 million. Yeah, I voted for a bill, the very first bill that came out of committee, to move it along the pathway. But the final bill, the one that really matters and the one that laid off teachers, my opponent signed it. You want more evidence? I have it in my book. These aren't issues about Republican or Democrat. These aren't issues about him or me. These are your issues.
All right, the
Public
time's
issues.
up.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question is the state Senate seats for District 20, 21, and 27 have been dominated by Democrats. Some have argued that low voter turnout and the lack of political competition in the Rio Grande Valley is harmful to the area with regard to state funding. One, do you believe that healthy political competition is beneficial to the area? And two, what do you intend to do to increase voter participation and political awareness in the area? I guess we'll go to Mr. Torres first on this one.
Well, political competition is healthy, ladies and gentlemen, just like it's healthy on the football field. It brings out the best in everybody, and it holds people accountable for their role in that performance, doesn't it? Political competition is healthy for the government, but most importantly, it's healthy for the people. For too long, South Texas has been ignored by people in Austin. The people in Austin look at South Texas and say, well, the Democrats control it. The Democrats say, yeah, they're going to vote for it. So what do? Make promises. People right down the street at a meeting told me, Raul, all we have to show for all these years of Democrat voting are broken promises. The Republicans, on the other hand, say, well, there are a bunch of Democrats down there. We're not going to go spend our time or money, except when it's time to pick up a check. They're good at that. You see, I'm not beholden to anybody, but I do believe the political parties are important. See, political parties require us to examine each other, such as this ethics report that we filed against the senator last Tuesday, which in my opinion clearly shows that he didn't do his bookkeeping very well. Or how about this other open records request where he's asking the municipalities for, as the city of Farr, $127,000, and the city of Edinburgh, $170,000, that people are telling me that they pay him so he could represent them in Austin. I thought that's what we elected senators for. Ladies and gentlemen, these are issues that come about in these political processes. So you, the people, know what's going on behind the scenes. Government should be open and transparent. Open and transparent. And I believe you have a right to know about how your government functions, whether it's local, county, or state, or federal. And that's why I like the two-party system in South Texas. It isn't a difficult issue to fix when you get politicians out of the way. Let's let the market decide that. The market is the most efficient vehicle on the planet if we let the markets figure it out. But when you got these politicians in Washington who won't let us, for example, sell across state lines because they want control. You got these regulations like the HIPAA, who adds hundreds of millions of dollars of cost for all this administration. You want to fix healthcare? Let everybody compete for our dollars. Let the hospitals put the prices for their services on the wall like McDonald's or Whataburger. Let us see what they really charge. I bet if you pick up the phone and call the hospital and say, what does a broken elbow surgery with a pin cost me? They'll say, well, do you have insurance or not? Because they know if you say yes, they're going to jack up those prices. They know that. It's not a hidden game once you get behind the scenes. So what we need are politicians who want to do what is right, not for themselves or their industry or the bureaucracy, but is right for you, the people. Well, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. And in Texas, we just got to do more. We got to do more. We got to hold people accountable. You can't give a guy a free ticket to go to a healthcare and there's no responsibility on his or her part. Yes, I used to be poor. I know what it's like. And our poor show up at the emergency room. Why? Because of new rules and regulations. It's more convenient for them to go to the emergency room at $2,500 to $7,000 a pop than to go, because of new rules, to their doctor because of new rule that it prevents them from going to their doctor. That's crazy. Just bureaucracy. We can do better.